Hi there, dear listener. Laszlo here with a quick pre-roll message for you. Before we get started, I want to let you know there are all kinds of convenient ways for you to support my efforts to bring you all these podcast shows on Chinese history, Chinese sayings, and tea history. If you go to my website at teacup.media and click the support button at the top, you'll find a bunch of ways to show some appreciation. There's Patreon, where you can get early access to new episodes, exclusive content, and an invite to the Teacup Media Discord channel, and more. CHP Premium, that also has early access, exclusive episodes, and ad-free versions of the entire CHP back catalog. Plus, there's several other ways to donate to the show as well. Check the episode show notes for a link to that very page. And my deepest thanks for listening and supporting me and my humble efforts. Greetings, one and all. Laszlo Montgomery again, bringing you another satisfying and nutritious Chinese saying. This time I picked out another, easy-to-pronounce classic that goes back to the last years of the Eastern Han. And anytime you talk about the end of the Han Dynasty, you know Cao Cao is going to get a mention. He's the star of our Chengyu today, our Chinese saying. The story comes to us courtesy of the Book of Wei, in the Sanguo Zhi, the Records of the Three Kingdoms, the most authoritative historical source that has made it down to us in the 21st century. This would have been one of Luo Guanzhong's primary sources when he wrote his Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Today, we look at Wei Ru Ji Lei, 4 syllables, standard equipment when it comes to these Chengyu. Here's the blow-by-blow analysis. Wei means taste of something. Ru means like, as, or as if. You combine the two characters and you have Wei Ru. The taste is like, or this tastes as if. Moving right along. Ji is a chicken, and Lei means ribs. Ji Lei, chicken ribs. Tastes like chicken ribs. Wei Ru Ji Lei. Okay, that doesn't appear to have any obvious meaning, so there has to be a story behind it, involving Cao Cao. He lived from 155 to 220. Cao Cao was chancellor during the final years of the Eastern Han Dynasty. After he died, his son Cao Pi, who we discussed in CSP Episode 1, Gua Tian Li Xia, Cao Pi went and founded the Kingdom of Wei. And they were one of the 3 kingdoms who fought to win control of a unified China. After the death of the final Han emperor, that was it as far as the unified country we know as China. Now the Middle Kingdom was divvied up into 3 separate kingdoms called Wei, Shu, and Wu. Again, the details long ago presented in the China History Podcast, episode 23. Our story behind Wei Ru Ji Lei takes place in Shanxi province, mainly around the city of Hanzhong. I don't mean to keep dropping these little nugs on you about little known facts, but Hanzhong is the city that gave us the name of the Han Dynasty, since Liu Bang was formerly king of Hanzhong, and after Liu Bang did away with Xiangyu at the end of the Chu Han contention, he named his new dynasty the Han, from Hanzhong. Cao Cao first took this city in 215 from Liu Bei of Shu. Now this Shu kingdom was in the southwest, around Sichuan. After Cao Cao took Hanzhong away from them, Liu Bei's troops retreated back to their home base in Sichuan. After he felt that Hanzhong was under control, Cao Cao felt it was safe for him to head back to his base in Yecheng, an ancient district in Hebei, present-day Linjiang County. After Cao Cao left Hanzhong, the Shu ruler Liu Bei began to make plans to take the city back. And in the fall of 218, he did just that. He took the city, and after pushing Cao Cao's army out of Hanzhong, he moved in and assumed control. Cao Cao wasn't happy about this and put his generals on notice to take it back, but it was to no avail. After trying a few times, and real hard I might add, Cao Cao's army couldn't extract Liu Bei and his Shu army from Hanzhong. Every battle fought ended without a decisive result. No one could defeat the other. Finally, In September 218, Cao Cao had had enough with his generals' excuses, so he pushed them all aside and rode back to Hanzhong and said he himself would lead the army against Shu. But even after throwing everything he had against Liu Bei and his Shu army, Cao Cao couldn't declare a total victory. This was really demoralizing. So one day, when things were not looking good, Cao Cao retired to his tent to have his evening rice and ponder his next move. Keep at it or declare victory and head home. While Cao Cao sat there contemplating his options, one of his generals entered the tent, as he did every night at this time, to get the master password. Now, according to the story, as he fulminated over what the new password would be, Cao Cao stared down at his bowl of soup and replied, "Chicken ribs." The general bowed and exited the tent and passed the word through the chain of command. Now, finally, the password was given to Yang Xiu, who was perhaps Cao Cao's most trusted right-hand man. Upon hearing the new password, and knowing his boss like he did, Yang Xiu immediately gave the orders to his subordinates to quietly begin making preparations to withdraw from Hanzhong. The general asked Yang Xiu, how could he possibly know this was going to be Cao Cao's command? Yang Xiu told him plainly that this password from Cao Cao was all he needed to know about where the king of Wei's head was at. Yang Xiu further said, the situation has become desperate and hopeless. Provisions were running out. The Shu military turned out to be stronger than they expected. By using a password such as chicken ribs, Cao Cao was revealing what was in his heart. Yang Xiu continued, you see, chicken ribs are tasteless and not much use. But, tasteless as they may be, they got a little bit of meat on the bone that makes it a pity to just throw it away. That's what Hanzhong had become to Cao Cao. It wasn't life or death to take and hold the city, but what a shame to walk away without it. Sure enough, the next morning, bright and early, Cao Cao issued the orders to withdraw from Hanzhong, and from this, we get Wei Ru Qi Lei, tastes like chicken ribs, meaning something of little value or use, yet just enough value or use whereby to give it up would seem a waste. It can also mean to lack interest in doing something because to do it yields almost nothing to your benefit. It also can be used to describe anything in your life that might be called rubbish, but which you can't bring yourself to toss in the garbage. Cao Cao originally was thinking he had to take Hanzhong back, but after expending so much blood and treasure to accomplish the task, he realized, what's he trying so hard for? It just wasn't worth it. I'm sure we all have plenty of chicken ribs hanging around our house and in our fridge. You know, it's not really worth it to keep it, but why throw it away? That ratty sofa, for example, that you have in your home or office, the edges of which your cats have clawed to shreds, you know you should dump it. But it's still comfortable and serves its purpose. What a shame to toss it. A nice example of chicken ribs. So that's the story of Cao Cao, Liu Bei, Yang Xiu, and the chicken ribs. Wei Ru Ji Lei. Not much use, but a pity to toss it. For more about all these guys, remember, the China History Podcast is available for you 24/7 with all the major details about this and other topics from thousands of years of Chinese history. All free, all the time. And don't forget, every 2 weeks, the China Vintage Hour. Great stuff for a long drive. Eyewitnesses who roamed around China during the Qing Dynasty and gave an account of what they saw and experienced. And also, don't forget, if you're traveling on Cathay Pacific Airways, you can listen to this Chinese Sayings Podcast and the China History Podcast. One more reason to fly CX. Thanks, everyone. Laszlo Montgomery, on behalf of the entire staff and management here at Teacup Media, signing off from Los Angeles, California. Consider joining me next time for another Chinese Sayings Podcast here at Teacup Media, teacup.media. Take care, everyone.